Good morning to you again, Sam. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. Yes, we're out in Creighton. It is one of the venues of KZN in the summer. But one of the things that we discovered as we been here since Wednesday was that Creighton and many areas around this is a farming community. Dairy farming specifically is the driver of the economy of this side. And what better way to get a sense of what the farming industry is like on this side and to speak to one of the farmers, Babum Somi, as well as Thomas from the Ingwe Farmers Association. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Yeah, what's up, Babum
Somi, let's talk about ukulima kwakho, ulima ngani, ukuze kanjani ukuthi ulime?
Ekhaya ngazalwa kuvele kulinywe ekhaya. Ngahamba ngosebenza, mase ngikhathele ukusebenza ngibuyile ke ngiyalima. Ngiqale ngengulube ngafuya ingulube manje ngikhulisa amankonyane enkomo from day 1 umese na 6 months ngiwahambise kwi-abattoir ingcono kakhulu uma uqhathanisa ingulube eno 6 months iyenza mhlambe 1000 rand kanti inkonyane lenkomo elina 6 months liyakwazi ukwenza 6600 manje sishintshele kuyona kakhulu manje sibothi iyona esizoqhubeka nayo kodwa iproblem yethu esinayo sishoda ngogandaganda umhlaba sinawo sinomhlaba esinikwe inkosi yethu umemela isinika umhlaba ongango 105 hectares kodwa manje asinayo into yokusebenza lo mhlaba sinawo ugandaganda sishoda ngogandaganda masingathola ugandaganda impilo yethu ingaya phambili singajabula kakhulu ingangcono kakhulu impilo yethu uma singathola ugandaganda.
All right, Thomas, let's bring you into this conversation. Talk to us about the work being done by the Ingwe Farmers Association. What is the purpose of the organization?
Ingwe Farmers Association is involved in organized agriculture. We belong to Kwanalu, who are our voice in agriculture. And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that go on in agriculture. We're all very busy on our farms on a day-to-day basis, getting up early and getting all the work done. But there's a lot of industry issues which Kwanalu, the Ingwe Farmers Association work with in conjunction with Kwanalu. And the amount of work is enormous that gets done on legislative issues, on political issues, and the landscape is changing. We might have been much more technical in years gone by. The issues nowadays are much more related to things like BE, land reform, land redistribution, and the latest thing on the table is fracking.
Well, how important is it for the farmers in this area to be part of the association so that, one voice can at least speak for all the farmers?
I think it's vital that people and farmers in the area are members of Ingwe Farmers Association and thereby also members of Kwanalu because the farmers are very busy on their farms on a day-to-day basis, but there's an enormous amount of behind-the-scenes work that carries on and gets done by people like your own Farmers Association and Kwanalu to allow a good socio-political environment for you to work and run your farms in.
Baba kuze kanjani ukuthi ulime the cows zize kanjani ukuthi ube umlimi?
Ngahamba nje ngothenga amankonyane ngifuna ukutry ukuthi kupho kungcono ngahamba ngothenga amankonyane emaplazini ngabuyisa ngazowabeka ekhaya ngawafuya bayawathenga ke nabantu ena 2 months nje lawa yizithola abantu bayakwazi ukuwathenga ngo2500 ena 2 months umesena 3 months so wathi ayisa 3000 rand bayakwazi ukuwathenga kodwa inkinga leyo mali abathenga ngayo sibuye sihambe sothenga ukudla ngayo futhi asikwazi ukuya phambili kalula akukho easy ukuba agriculture uyasixhasa ngabe siyakwazi ukuya phambili manje uagriculture bayahluleka ukusixhasa.
So manje kwamele bayenzeni ukuthi banisize ukuthi nilime kube ngcono ukulima.
Uma bengasiniki ugandaganda nje ngoba singama-co-op amaningi lapha la ngikhona alimayo sisonke nje esisondelene nabo sinawo umhlaba ongango 200 hectares uma uhulumeni engasinikeza ugandaganda singakwazi ukurana lo gandaganda singakwazi ukuzithelela udizili singakwazi ukuqasha no driver singakwazi ukuya phambili uhulumeni engasinika ugandaganda manje into esihluphayo umphathi wehhovisi la agriculture okhona lethu kwethu ukhetha ubuso babantu abanye abantu akabathandi abanye abathanda noma ungasebenza kangakanani mina ke especially mina nje akangithandi uthanda abantu laba abamalapho le bashiye khona azazobathatha khona mina ngisebenza January to January abanye balinda uNovember balime ngoNovember uyabathanda ke labo manje mina ngoba ngilima ama season isizini yonke ngilima ebusika ngilima ehlobo akangifuni.
All right, so this is something that we're going to have to address with the government. But Thomas, I want you to bring into this conversation that how do you then deal with the challenges faced by farmers like Ubaba Msomi as an association? How much power can you then take to the government and say, look, our farmers are going through this, you know, how do we begin to find solutions?
Solutions are really not easy. Lebo, the problem is that the big commercial farmers and the commercial farmers are facing challenges every day, and those challenges are to stay competitive and efficient, because at the end of the day what happens over time is that the real value of what commodities we're selling seems to drop, and we're having to reinvent ourselves all the time to stay competitive and stay profitable and stay on the land, and that results in our capacity being reduced to get involved with people like Mr. Msomo here, and there's a real need for Mr. Msomo's plight to get aid, and they look a lot to commercial farmers for help, and unfortunately the capacity from the commercial farmers is limited, and the capacity from the Ingwe Farmers Association, for example, is also limited, because actually this has got to come from government, and there's so much goodwill and so many people like Mr. Msomo who really want to make a living out of agriculture. And they've put a lot of work in, and they've got the groundwork, and they've got the basics, but they need help. And so, like for example, Mr. Msomo's case, whereby they're needing tractors. You know, we run as few tractors as we can to stay as efficient and as profitable as we can. Otherwise, we'll also go out of business. So we don't have the capacity to just jump in and help, and we do need government to jump in and help. And so it's really not easy for the agricultural societies to fit the role or take the place of government. So it's a challenge for government, and we have our own challenges, and those are to stay in business.
Yeah. Let's talk about your farm. What do you farm in? I mean, we visited a dairy farm earlier. What do you farm in?
I'm a dairy farmer, milking cows off pastures, and that's what I do.
Yeah. And how important is it for, you know, to get the milk out there? You know, I was speaking to Dudley Smith the other day, was saying, you know, Creighton provides a particular percentage of, you know, the land's milk. How important is it to sustain this business?
It's very important to stay in this business for many reasons. I mean, obviously you can start at the one end of the scale, which is food security, going right down to the under this end of the scale, which is job creation and taxation and so on. So it is vitally important. The bottom line is that if you, in this area, if you took account of the number of people employed, it might not be a very large percentage of the population, but the salaries that are going back and wages that are going back to the communities are enormous. And if you took this out of the equation, the repercussions would be huge.
All right, and gentlemen, thank you so much for talking to us. Hopefully this conversation will get the government in to join in on the conversation and find solutions to the problems of the different farmers that we've spoken to. Oh, no. Okay, now we're going to take an ad break, but playing you into the ad break is, of course, the hot air balloon, which is part of the activities that will be taking place today out here in Creighton as the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Traditional Affairs launches its 2015 KZN is Summer Campaign 2015. Let's take an ad break. Stay with us.